Good morning, children. Now we are going to start with the term 2 portion now. That is, in this schedule I'm going to take class for standard 7 science and the lesson 1 heat and temperature. So those who have the book, you can take the page number 2, children, and those who don't have the book, you can buy the book. The books are available in the school, children. So those who have the book, now take now. Now first we'll see the introduction. That is, the measurement of warmness or coldness of the substance is known as its temperature. So what's temperature? The temperature. So what is temperature, children? The measurement of warmness or coldness of a substance is known as temperature. Okay, children. So what is temperature? The measurement of warmness or coldness is known as a temperature. Now we'll see the temperature units. So there are 3 units. So how many units, children? 3 units of temperature. So first one is Celsius. Next is Fahrenheit and Kelvin. So what are the 3 units, children? Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin. Now first we will say degree Celsius. Celsius is written as C. So Celsius is written as C, okay? And read as degree. So how will you read that? Degree. So how will you learn? Degree. Now for example, 20 degrees Celsius. So 20, this is degrees Celsius. Okay, do you understand, children? 20 degrees Celsius. Now it is read as 20 degrees Celsius, I said. Now Celsius is called as centigrade also. Celsius is otherwise called as a centigrade. Okay, Celsius, C, so degree, centigrade. Then Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit is written as F. For example, 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so how will you write? 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, now it is, next is Kelvin. Kelvin is written as K. Kelvin is written as K. And for example, 100 Kelvin, it is read as, then SI unit of temperature is K. So 100 Kelvin and the SI unit of temperature is Kelvin is K. Okay, children, did you understand? That is, there are 3 units: Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin. Celsius, that is C, centigrade, 20 degrees Celsius. Fahrenheit, 25 degrees Fahrenheit. And Kelvin, K, for example, you can give 100 K. And what is the unit of Kelvin? That is K. Okay, children. Now, measuring temperature. Now, the temperature of the object is well approximated with the kinetic energy. So, the high temperature means that the molecules within the object are moving faster. If the temperature is high, so the molecules inside that object is moving faster. Now, we studied that solid expands when heat is supplied. Like solid substances, liquids are also affected by heat. So solids, actually what I said, when the solid expands when heat is supplied. So like solid also, liquids also affected by heat. Now in a thermometer, when a liquid gets heat, it expands, and when it's cooled down, it contracts. So when it's heat, it expands, and when it cooled down, it contracts. So heated means expands. When it cools down, it contracts. Okay, children. So when it's heated, it expands, and when it cools down, it contracts. So it is used to measure temperature. Okay, children, it is used to measure temperature. Now, thermometer. Thermometer is the most common instrument to measure temperature. So to measure temperature, what is used? Thermometer. Thermometer is used to measure temperature. Now there are various kinds of thermometers. Some of them are like glass tubes which look thin and are filled with liquid. Now why mercury or alcohol is used in thermometer, they have asked. Mostly alcohol and mercury are used in thermometers as they remain in liquid form even with a change of temperature. So mostly alcohol and mercury. Mercury is there. It's in a liquid form. Okay, it's in a liquid form. So what we can see in the thermometer? Alcohol or mercury. Now a small change in the temperature causes change in the volume of a liquid. So if there's a change in the temperature, there's a change in the volume of a liquid also. So for measure this temperature by measuring expansion of a liquid in thermometer. Now we are going to see the properties of mercury and properties of alcohol. Now first, if you see the properties of mercury, its expansion is uniform. Uniform means equal, and it is opaque. Opaque means that is thick and shiny. It does not stick to the sides of the glass tube. So the liquid, what happens? It does not stick to the either side of the tube. Now it's a good conductor of heat. Then it has a high boiling point, and that is 357 degrees Celsius. It has a high boiling point. High boiling point, that is 357 degrees Celsius. That is properties of, that is mercury first. So what is the first point I said? That is, its expansion is uniform. Expansion is uniform. And then next is it's opaque. Opaque and shiny. Opaque and shiny. And next it is does not stick. Okay, does not stick to the sides of the glass tube. And then it has a high boiling point. High boiling point of 357 degrees Celsius and low freezing point. Low freezing point of minus 39 degrees. So think children, minus 39 means how it will be, okay? It's a very, very low. So it's hence a wide range of temperatures can be measured using a mercury thermometer. So it has expansion is uniform and it's opaque and shining also. It does not stick to the side of the glass tubes. It has a high boiling point of 357 degrees and the low freezing point of minus 39 degrees Celsius. Next we are going to go to the alcohol, properties of alcohol. Okay, if you see alcohol, the freezing point is less than minus degrees Celsius. That is less than, the freezing point is minus 100 degrees Celsius. And its expansion per degree Celsius rise in temperature is very large. So expansion is very large. Expansion is very large. Then it can be colored brightly and hence easily visible. So colored brightly, and it is easily available. Okay children, so these are the differences, that it is freezing point is minus 100 degrees Celsius less and the expansion is large and it's colored brightly and easily available. Now we are going to see the types of thermometers. There are different types of thermometers for measuring the temperatures like air, then a body, food and many other things. So among these commonly used thermometers are clinical and laboratory thermometers. So what is the commonly used here? Clinical and laboratory. I think you have understood this properties of alcohol and mercury children. Now we are going to see the types of thermometers. Types of thermometers. Okay children, first is clinical thermometer and another one is laboratory thermometer. Clinical and laboratory thermometer. Okay children, now that is clinical. These thermometers are used to measure the temperature of a human body at home, clinics and hospitals. So if you go to the clinics or hospitals, this clinical thermometer only is used to see the body temperature. Now all clinical thermometers have a kink that prevents the mercury from flowing back into the bulb. Now when the thermometer is taken out of the patient's mouth so that the temperature can be noted conveniently. So that's a kink in the thermometer which keeps that is flowing back into the bulb, and a thermometer is taken out of the patient, the temperature can be easily found out conveniently. Now there are temperature scales on either side of the mercury thread. That is, this is a mercury clinical thermometer. See here. Clinical thermometer, children. There's a bulb. There's a kink on temperature scales. Okay, that is 0. Scales is given. So there are temperature scales on either side of the mercury thread, one in the Celsius scale and other in the Fahrenheit scale, one in the Celsius and one in the Fahrenheit. Now since the Fahrenheit scale is more sensitive than the Celsius, body temperature is measured in F only. So since the Fahrenheit is more sensitive than the Celsius, body temperature is measured in F, that is Fahrenheit scale. A clinical thermometer indicates temperatures from a minimum 35 degrees or 94 degrees Fahrenheit. In Celsius means it is 35 degrees Celsius, or it is Fahrenheit means 94 degrees Fahrenheit, to a maximum of 42 or 108. Okay children, so there are temperature scales, I said, on either side of the mercury, and the Celsius scale, one in the Celsius scale and the other the Fahrenheit scale. Now since the Fahrenheit scale is more sensitive than the Celsius, what happens? The body temperature is measured in the Fahrenheit only. Now the clinical thermometer indicates the temperature of minimum 35 degrees Celsius, and if you see the Fahrenheit is 94 degrees Fahrenheit. If that is to a maximum, if you go 35 to means maximum is 42, and if it maximum, that is 108. Okay children. Now precautions to be followed while using a clinical thermometer. Now, the thermometer should be washed before and after use. So, before use and after use, the thermometer should be washed with an antiseptic solution. Now, jerk the thermometer. Jerk means you have to shake it, okay? Jerk the thermometer a few times to bring the level of the mercury down. Now, before use, the mercury level should be below 35 degrees Celsius. So, first you have to jerk the thermometer. So, before use, what happens? The mercury level should be below 35 degrees Celsius or 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, do not hold the thermometer by its bulb. So, you should not hold the thermometer by its bulb. Then keep the mercury level along your line of sight and then take the reading. So, mercury level, it should be in the front of your sight and then you have to take the reading. Handle the thermometer with care. If it hits against some hard object, it may break. So, you have to use it carefully. If it hit another object or it falls down, it may break. Now, do not place the thermometer in a hot flame or in the hot sun. So, you should not keep the thermometer in the flame or in the hot sun. So, these are the precautions, children. Next is the laboratory thermometer. So, see the laboratory thermometer here. This is a clinical. Next is a laboratory thermometer. Okay, children, laboratory. This is a laboratory thermometer. This is given, numbers are given here. This is a clinical thermometer. Now, laboratory thermometers are used to measure the temperature in school and other laboratories for scientific research. So, this is not a clinical thermometer. Clinical thermometer is used only in the clinics and in the hospitals, while the laboratory thermometers are used for temperature in schools and in the scientific research. Now, they are also used in the industry as they can measure temperatures higher than clinical thermometers can record. So, this laboratory thermometer is used in the industries to measure the temperature than the clinical thermometer. Now, the stem and the bulb of a lab. So, this is the stem and the bulb of a lab thermometer are longer when compared to that of a clinical thermometer. So, this is a stem and this is a bulb. It's compared to the clinical thermometer, it is long, and there is no kink in the lab thermometer. So, in this we saw the kink in the clinical, but in the laboratory thermometer there is no kink. So, laboratory thermometer has only the Celsius scale ranging from -10 to the 110 degrees. That is, it has only the Celsius scale, not the Fahrenheit scale, that is ranging from -10 degrees Celsius to the 110 degrees Celsius. In clinical only you have Celsius and Fahrenheit both. But in the Celsius scale, laboratory only Celsius scale, that is minus 10 to the 110 degrees Celsius. Okay children? Then precautions to be followed while using a laboratory thermometer. Now do not tilt tilt means you should not upside down. Okay, you should not tilt the thermometer while measuring the temperature. Place it upright. You have to keep it straight. Then note the reading only when the bulb has been surrounded by the substance from all the sides. So when you have to see the reading, note the reading, that is when the substance is surrounded from all the sides. These are the precautions to be taken. Now see the children, differences is given here between clinical and laboratory thermometer. That is clinical, I already took both clinical and the laboratory. Now there's the differences you have to see. So I think you have understood both clinical and laboratory thermometer. Now we are going to see the differences. Now that first clinical thermometer scale from, I already said, 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius and from 94 to 190. While laboratory it scale from minus 10 to 110 degrees Celsius. In clinical thermometer you have both Celsius as well as the Fahrenheit, but in the laboratory thermometer only the Celsius, okay, or Fahrenheit, what I said, 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay children? Next is the mercury level does not fall on its own as there is a kink near the bulb. So you have a kink in the clinical thermometer to prevent the fall of mercury. So there is a kink, okay, in the near the bulb. While in the laboratory thermometer, what happens? There is no kink in present, so it falls down on its own. So there is no kink in the laboratory thermometer, so it falls down on its own. The next, temperature can be read after removing the thermometer from armpit or the mouth. So where the thermometer is kept, whether in the armpit or the mouth. So the temperature can be read after removing it. So temperature is read by removing the thermometer, okay, from the armpit or mouth. Armpit or mouth. Okay children? Then, while in the laboratory thermometer, while keeping the thermometer the source of temperature, example, a liquid or any other thing. So, temperature is read, okay, while keeping the thermometer in the source of the temperature. Thermometer in the source of temperature. Okay children? The next, to lower the mercury level, jerks are given. Jerks means you have the shaking, okay? Jerks are given. Jerks are given, while the no need to give jerk to lower the mercury level in the laboratory. By its, actually it comes down as an on its own. So you don't need to give the jerk. So no need to give jerk, okay? The next is it is used for taking the body temperature. So for what clinical temperature used? For the body temperature, okay? And for laboratory thermometer is used to take temperature in the laboratory, okay? So these are the differences for clinical and the laboratory temperature. That is, first is 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius and 94 degrees Fahrenheit. That is, both Celsius and Fahrenheit you can see in the clinical thermometer. While in the laboratory, minus 10 to 110 degrees Celsius. So no Fahrenheit is used there, only the Celsius scale. Next, there is a kink in the clinical thermometer, okay? And in the laboratory, there is no kink. Then it is used to remove the thermometer from armpit or mouth, the temperature can be read. While in the laboratory thermometer, what happens? It keeps in the source of temperature, that is, example, liquid or any other thing. And the fourth point is, that is to lower the mercury level, the jerks are given in the clinical thermometer. So while in the laboratory, no need to give the jerk to lower the mercury level. Then here it is used to take the body temperature, and here it is used in the laboratory. So do you understand this 5 points children for the clinical and the laboratory? Next is a digital thermometer. Now here is a lot of concern over the use of mercury in thermometers. So now as the technology is developed, digital thermometers have come. So mercury is a toxic substance and it's very difficult to dispose of if a thermometer breaks. So nowadays what they are doing these days, digital thermometers are available which do not use mercury. So what is used now? Digital thermometers. Okay. These days digital thermometers are available which do not use mercury. Instead, it has a sensor which can measure the heat coming out from the body directly. From that can measure the temperature of the body. Now digital thermometers are mainly used to take the body temperature only. So digital temperature is used to take only the body temperature. Okay children. Now next we will see the scales of thermometers. Then that is Celsius scale. Celsius is a common unit of measuring temperature termed after Swedish astronomer Anders Celsius in 1742. Before that it was known as centigrades or as thermometers. Okay children, before that was known as a centigrade as thermometers. Using this scale are calibrated from freezing point of water, that is 0 degrees, and boiling point is 100 degrees. Okay, so before the Celsius scale was given, the centigrade name was there in the thermometer. So now it is known as a Celsius scale, and that is 0 degrees for the freezing point and 100 degrees Celsius for the boiling point of the water. In Greek, centium means 100 and gradus means steps. Both words make it centigrade and later Celsius. So in Greek, how did the centigrade come? Celsius means 100, grades means steps. So both added, you have combined, you get centigrade, and later it was called as a Celsius. The next, Fahrenheit scale. Fahrenheit is a common unit to measure human body temperature. It is termed after the name of a German physicist, Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit. Now freezing point is taken as 32 and boiling point as 212. And the thermometers with Fahrenheit scales are calibrated from 32 to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Next is the Kelvin. Kelvin is termed after Lord Kelvin. SI unit of measuring temperature is written as K and known as absolute scale as it starts from 0 temperature. Okay children, here they are given temperature in Celsius scale converted to Fahrenheit and Kelvin scale as discussed. And here boiling point of water is 100, Fahrenheit is 212, Kelvin scale they have given. Freezing point of water is 0, Fahrenheit is 32. The mean temperature of human body is 98.6 and room temperature is 23. So we are finishing this lesson children. So we have seen all this about the clinical, laboratory thermometer, digital and the scales of thermometers we saw. So in the next class I'll give you the book back answers children. Thank you.